If you want to see a preview of what the Mark 8 Golf facelift is like inside, then this is as good a place to start as any. Hello and welcome back to the VolksWizard channel. Today's video is a review of the brand new 9th generation Volkswagen Passat, which launched in the UK recently. Since its launch in 1973, VW have sold 34 million Passats, and in that time it's been based on either the compact Audi saloon platform or the Golf platform. Well, that was until the Mark 6 Passat came out in 2005, which was based very much on the Golf, and it shared its much improved driving dynamics, and VW have stuck to that formula with every generation of Passat since, including this brand new one, which is based on the MQB Evo platform, which it shares with the incoming Mark 8 Golf facelift. So if you want to see a preview of what the Mark 8 Golf facelift is like inside, then this is as good a place to start as any. But the main purpose of this video is to see how VW have updated the Passat to make it more appealing in the very competitive executive car sector. Okay, before we get started having a closer look at this Passat, I just want to remind you guys how you can support the channel. The easiest way to do that is simply to subscribe. We're still getting a lot of views from non-subscribers, and it's brilliant to get those views, but it'd be even more brilliant if you guys could subscribe as well. Also, I don't say this enough, big thanks to every one of my current 57 and a bit thousand subscribers. You all mean an awful lot to me, so big thanks for your support. Right, on to this car. So the one we have today is a Passat in sporty R Line trim with the eTSI 150 horsepower petrol engine. eTSI means it's got the mild hybrid system, which doesn't mean it can move with electricity, it just means it can extend the start-stop function, which saves fuel, reduces emissions. Interestingly, and I was shocked to find this out, there are no diesels Passats for the UK market, and even more surprising, the saloon is gone. You can only have an estate. This is fine by me because I'm a big estate fan and I kind of can understand the logic, but it's just weird, a Passat not being a saloon. If you want a diesel car very much like this, then you'll need the Skoda Superb Estate, which was co-developed with the Passat. Now this car, as tested, is £47,215, and that's because it's got about £4,500 worth of options. So the base price is £42,840. The options we'll cover in due course in this video, but just a quick heads up, we've got the driver assistance pack, which gives you area view, which is a wonderful parking camera, travel assist, lane assist, and emergency assist, and electrically operated child safety lock for the rear doors. That's only £620 for all those bits, so seems like pretty good value. It's got the panoramic glass sunroof, which is panoramic on this estate car for sure. That's 1,200 quid. Tyre pressure monitoring, £160, could save your life, so probably worth it. And we've got the upgraded infotainment system, which is the big story with this car. That includes a head-up display, £850, so again, a no-brainer, and the Harman Kardon sound system, which in a lot of other Volkswagens brightens up a very dull cabin. Well, we'll have a look inside and see if this car needs that as well. This colour, by the way, is chili red, which, if you're as old as me, will remember was a colour on the Golf VR6, so I think it was a little bit darker on that, but yeah, it looks pretty good in this spec. But let's have a closer look around the inside and outside, starting with, as usual, the outside. Okay, well, there's a lot been done to the outside of the new Passat, enough to make it clear that this is definitely a brand new generation, not just a facelift. VW are really proud of the reduced aerodynamic drag. It's got a coefficient of drag of just 0.25 now, which will help with emissions and fuel economy, and also improve refinement. The panels have been changed significantly. It's much more sculpted now, much more dynamic, and it's actually bigger, which could be a problem because the old Passat was quite big, but if you want space, you cannot beat this, particularly when it comes to the boot. So the wheelbase is 50 millimeters longer than the old one, and the overall car is 144 millimeters longer. The width has increased by 20 millimeters, but the height has remained unchanged, which helps keep the drag down. This is the R Line model, and it's got black styling pack, it's got LED matrix headlights with light bar and dynamic indicators, and it's also got pre-trick LED rear lights, which have a variable lighting function, and also a light bar It's probably worth mentioning that this Passat has got the model designation on the door, which we will have coming to Golf 8. Facelift, I don't think it's too bad when it's an R, but the GTI logo on there, I don't think I'm ever going to get used to. We've got the standard wheels on this car, which are called Coventry. Back in the day, VW used to call their wheels after racetracks. As far as I know, there isn't one in Coventry, unless you count the Ring Road. They're 8-inch by 18-inch, and they have got 235, 45, 18 tyres, which in this case are the brilliant Bridgestone Turanza 6, which I'll be fitting to my S4 TDI very, very soon. So yeah, looking forward to see how these perform on this car. And as I mentioned earlier, we've got the panoramic sunroof, which is 2 panels. This one's sitting over the rear one. It's got a separate blind as well and a mesh wind deflector. So yeah, a bit of a no-brainer at £1,200. Okay, now let's have a look inside at the new Passat. Now, I've never even seen this car before externally, so this is all new to me. I can then give you my first impressions, which are usually the most important. And it's pretty good so far. Flockline door bins. This plastic's okay. This is nice and padded. Got chrome tips on the switches. We have got Alcantara on the door card with a blue stripe and contrast stitching. And not only that, instead of just boring stripe ambient lighting, we've got this pattern here in the inlays, matte aluminium door pull stitching here as well. Yeah, this is a very impressive door card. What is going on, Volkswagen? Maybe your carpets are... carpet-wise, yeah, maybe it's a little bit better than Golf 8, a tiny bit, but it's still not brilliant. You can see what's brilliant by the floor mats because they are really lovely. We've got massage seats on both sides, which is nice. I've got them on my S4 and I wouldn't be without them. Yeah, a little strip to protect the sill there. It's better than nothing, I guess, with the R logo on it. Stainless pedals. It's all pretty normal down here. It's not too bad down there. Alcantara again on the dash, which looks okay in this car. I've seen it in Skodas where the rest of the interior is pretty poor and they've stuck Alcantara on it. Doesn't look great. Here it kind of does fit in with the quality elsewhere. Now the seats, well, again, they're not particularly supportive, but they are even racier than the ones we had in Golf 8. So we've got this metal R logoed inlay here. Adjustable thigh support, which is really nice. Very impressive. Right, let's get behind the steering wheel. So this is the 15-inch MIB 4 infotainment system. An option, but you've got to get it really, haven't you? But we'll come to that in a sec. Old school steering wheel with buttons. Some of the early Golf 8s had this, and then they switched to the haptic, and it's great to have this back again. Down here, there isn't a lot going on. This is potentially, I think it's plastic, but it looks good. Not an awful lot of piano black down here to get scratched, and here where it matters it's this, which should be a bit more durable, maybe not too expensive to replace if you need to. Contrast stitching here, armrest that does something different. Lots of stowage in there, so opening up like that is, yeah, different. Whether it's better or not, I don't know. Cup holders down there, and wireless charging. Yeah, it works. Harman Kardon on the pillar trims, which are actually fabric, unlike Golf 8, I think, and the stitching carries on here. We've got the head-up display, which is part of the infotainment upgrade. Wow, please Volkswagen, let's have the Golf 8 like this. I know this is the class above it, but this is amazing. That's worth just spending a bit of time having a go with the infotainment system. So this is MIB4. I think that means it's completely different to the one we had in the Golf 8 with all those problems. We've got the big screen here. It is as big as you need it to be, 15 inches, and it's also got illuminated sliders down here now. So I'm sure a lot of you guys will be pleased they've done that, even though you actually don't really need to use them all that often because you've got these buttons on the steering wheel, which are now proper buttons, as I mentioned earlier, which is good. Headlight switch, by the way, is a haptic one, but you shouldn't really need to touch that. Sometimes when I'm filming, it's a bit of a pain to not let me put side lights on at dusk. But anyway, onto the infotainment system. So I've not used this before and it's all new to me. So let's see how it works. The best way, I mean, you shouldn't really have to learn it. So Klima here is the shortcut to the climate control. By the way, there's no shortcut button here. On the Golf 8, we had something here for all the main controls. And on the Tiguan, there's another control down here that is an addition to this screen. So it's all on here, so it better be good. So heated seats, which is really annoying on Golf 8, have their own little position here, even when you're not in the climate bit. Got the home button in the middle, which is fine. I can reach it easily. The screen is tilted towards me, which isn't the case on some other VW Group derivatives. So that is good. Heated rear window there. Front windscreen demist. Individual temperature here, up and down, or you can press if you really like to stab at stuff. Sync. I think they've learned from their mistakes. We've got the shortcuts now have been programmed by default and appear at the top of the screen. You don't have to slide down. I'm sure you can customize them as well, but all the main stuff is in here, although, yeah, that's start-stop. You can even have traction control on there if you so desire, but not many people actually do that aside from motoring journalists. Driving modes here, it's all really fast as well. Assist system, so actually getting rid of lane assist, it's that easy. And all the other stuff, I mean, look at all this stuff, virtually self-driving. Parking information, right, yes, bird's eye view. And this is for the parking sensors. So this is a self-parking system. Yep, and this is the camera. So bird's eye view, resolution's a bit rubbish, like it's designed for a smaller screen, not really working on this big one. But this, just having this makes parking a car this big so easy. In fact, I miss it when I drive a Golf, not having this bird's eye view, which I have on my S4. Do you know what? It's pretty hard to fault. Look at this, I'm just stabbing away. Oh wow, so the heated seats are just there. And then we have the massage function as well. Yeah. Okay, so you can get used to Golf 8, don't get me wrong, but it was still buggy. This doesn't seem to be buggy, and it seems a lot more intuitive. So that's a big thumbs up from me. Bring on Golf 8 facelift. With the Golf 8, they did shift by wire, which put a little switch down here. Then they've moved it all together to up here, but it's just there. And I think that's like ID3. And, you know, you get used to it. It's quite intuitive. You don't really need to see it. So that's pretty cool. And it frees up space down here, which is useful for phones and drinks, which, you know, I'm quite happy with. Flatline glove box. Come on, please put that in the Golf 8 facelift. Very, very cool. Our logo there. I'm impressed. So this is my driving position. This is a big car. Let's go and have a look in the back and see how much room there is. Well, you can tell this car was co-developed with Skoda's new Superb. It's even got the umbrella in the door card. Still has a rough edge on the door there, which is disappointing, but maybe you can smooth that off. Right, look at that leg room, guys. That is amazing. So they've made the car longer, but not as long as they've stretched the wheelbase. So there's so much room in here. It's almost too spacious. Yep. Okay, we've got the sporty black or grey headliner, but the pan roof livens it up a bit. Quality, oh my God. They haven't downgraded it for the back. Please can we have that for the Golf as well. Storage there for your devices. 2 USBs here, USB-C and 2 at the front. Well, that's really impressive. But I think the pièce de résistance with the Passat is the boot. So we've got power tailgate on this car. I think it's standard. We don't seem to have keyless entry because we've just got the one button on there. Now check out this boot. It's 690 litres with the seats up, which is getting on for double that of a Golf. It's 1,920 with the seats down. I'm not going to do that because I just don't have the time today to mess around with it. But yeah, now that is 300 litres more than a Tiguan. So I ask you people, why do you need an SUV when you've got a car like this? And this does 50 to the gallon, which is significantly more than the Tiguan with the same engine. So just have a quick look under the boot floor. Now, unlike on my S4 with mild hybrid, this car's got mild hybrid, there's actually space down here to use. There's no spare wheel. Tyre repair kit in there, but that's still space which you've got here, which I don't have in my car. I wasn't expecting to be impressed with this car, but I am, and I do hope a lot of this carries over to the Golf 8 facelift. Anyway, let's see now how the new Passat drives. Well, welcome to the brand new 9th generation VW Passat. This car is actually a year younger than me, which makes it a year older than the Golf. So it's actually older than the Golf. I thought modern Volkswagen began with the Golf, which followed on from the Beetle, but I was wrong. And yeah, thinking about it, this car has been around for a while, and for good reason. It's super practical, it's efficient compared to an SUV. Generally, they've been really well made. They've usually had a cut above interior quality than the Golf, so it'll be interesting to see how the Golf shapes up against this. But if it's like this, there's a tangible improvement over Golf 8. So yeah, can't wait to see. Maybe because this is a bigger, more expensive class of car, we're going to lose some of the trimmings in here, which will be a real shame, because this feels like a Golf should be, a modern Golf. Anyway, so yeah, super comfy seats. They may look sporty, but rest assured they're not. We're in comfort mode, and on this broken Milton Keynes road, it's pretty good. We've got dynamic chassis control as standard. I'm pretty sure it doesn't say on the screen it's DCC Pro. So after, I don't know, however many years, they've updated it finally, and they're using twin valve dampers, which apparently is very closely related to a system used in a motorsport. There you go, 1.5 litre Passat estate with motorsport related dampers, and they are standard. So as usual, we've got 4 driving modes: Eco, Comfort, Sport and Individual. Individual has got DCC, the sort of 15 increment adjustment on that, and we've also got steering, drive, which will probably be like throttle response, adaptive cruise control, which is standard, light assistance, not too sure how you can adjust that to be comfort or sporty, and air conditioning, you can make it more economical, which it's in now, standard heated seats. The only weird thing about this armrest is because it folds up from the middle, you can't actually adjust the height of it, as far as I can tell, unless I'm missing something here, but it's pretty good. Okay, but this is the kind of road you'll be on the most in a car like this, so let's just set it to comfort and waft. This is the most important thing for a car like this. It's telling me to pay attention to the road on the screen there, and let's get up to 70, which is the legal limit. So 7-speed DSG. The engine's a little bit gruff, it's making its presence felt, but it's not too bad. And actually, when you settle to a cruise at 70, it's pretty quiet, thanks to the new aerodynamics and those Bridgestone Turanza 6 tyres. So on the combined cycle, this car will do 50 miles per gallon, which I think is really impressive. It weighs just under 1,600 kilograms, which again isn't particularly heavy for a car like this. It's a little bit lighter than the Tiguan, and yet weirdly it's slower, a little bit slower, 0 to 62, which is a 9.2 I think versus 9.1. Top speed is higher though, because it's more slippery than an SUV. It'll do 138 versus 130 of the Tiguan. So again, another reason why this is a much better choice than an SUV, and it's going to be even more apparent when we get to a twisty road. But now we're doing 70-ish, set the cruise on the steering wheel, like so. You can spend all day driving around in a car like this, 50 miles to the gallon. It doesn't have to be diesel like my S4 TDI. We have got mild hybrid though, which the main benefit of that is that, oh, nice sounding TT, is that it increases the time it can turn the engine off as part of the start-stop function. So you'll find it turning off when you're off the throttle or approaching a stop, and that really does add significantly to the miles per gallon, as I found out with my S4 TDI. Steering is, I'm guessing, progressive, which means that it gets lighter depending on the mode. If you go in comfort mode, it's lighter. Sport mode, it weights up a bit, yeah, and around town it goes into the lighter mode to make it maneuver. It's a big car, so anything that can help that is no bad thing. And obviously we've got the area view parking system as well, which will make it a lot easier to live with around town. Does it feel big on the road? I wouldn't say it does, no. We're in the sporty mode on the gearbox, which is why you can hear the engine revving up. Brakes, well, you know, they're okay. I don't know what spec they are, but I mean, he got hit by a Fiesta with a big dent in it. What spec they are, but they'll be up to the job for road use. This is most definitely not a track car, but as a road car, yeah, it feels pretty fantastic. Okay, we're going to go onto a little road now that I used when I made some videos with Audis. It's really hard to find good roads around here, but this one is where my old pal Alex from Audi UK used to send me in some really nice cars, including an RS2. So it's got some corners and the surface is not brilliant, so we'll get a good feel. Okay, so we're in sport mode now. The shifts are nice and clean. Throttle response is good. Can we overtake? It's a big car, and that's the van that's weaving out to the right. But yeah, lots to go there. And then a nice S-bend to really test it. And yeah, I think its limits are probably not that high, but it's alright. Steering feel's not really anything to write home about, but I think for this kind of car that's going to spend most of its time on the motorways, it's pretty, yeah, damn good. Now the only problem with this particular model is that it's not a hybrid model that can power itself on electricity, and that means it's actually got a very limited market. The benefit in kind tax to company car drivers is massive. It's something like 30% versus about 2% for an electric vehicle. So that's traditionally been a company car, and I don't think company car drivers are going to buy this one. Thankfully there are two hybrid versions that have just come out. We've got one with 204 horsepower, which is, you know, the entry-level one. There's one that sounds pretty fruity with 272 horsepower, which kind of almost makes the R Line virtually a Passat R estate. Maybe we will get a Passat R estate, but 272 horsepower and this kind of interior sounds pretty good to me, and they will be the ones that the company car drivers will be fighting over. This one, I think it's more for the older owner who maybe lives on the south coast, might be called Geoff, has just retired and he wants a car that will see him out, that's smart, not too challenging. The only problem is we really complain about the lack of climate control buttons. So yeah, somebody who's mature, retired, and doesn't mind having to use the infotainment system for the climate control. That's what you call a very niche market. As ever guys, thanks for watching this VolksWizard video. Keep commenting, keep subscribing, and I'll see you for the next one very soon.